But Emily, thank you for coming on my podcast. It's an honour to have you on. My first female guest as well. Ooh. It's a big thing. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. I wanted to start by asking you, how did you get into modelling? Because you are a model, but you do loads of stuff. I've seen you do stuff at ASOS, and you also do stuff on your actual Instagram page. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering how you got into it. What were your influences? Like, what made you think that you wanted to be a model? How old were you?
Well, I never really thought I wanted to do it, to be honest. I hadn't really thought about it. And then my now agent, he literally DM'd me on Instagram and he was like, do you want to come in and have a test shoot or whatever? That was when I was 17, I think. I had black hair at the time. I did that and then nothing came from it. And then about a year later, I was just turned 18. And I dyed my hair because I broke up with my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And he was like, we love your hair how it is now, so do you want to come back in? And I had more test shoots and then I got signed. So that was just
quickly got into that. So it wasn't it was not an accident, but did you have any how did you get the first shoot? I know you said you got the DM, but what preempted the guy to DM you and see if you wanted to do a shoot? Did he just like what you look like on Instagram?
Yeah, I think he just scouts people through Instagram because he owns the agency. And then you basically go in and they'll take really quick kind of natural pictures just on sometimes an iPhone or a camera, and then if they like you from that, you then get a test shoot with an actual photographer.
Yeah.
And then if your pictures come out well, then you'll sign with them, and then you have to go through the process of having loads of different style test shoots, natural ones, editorial, more glam ones, to build up a portfolio.
Yeah.
And then once you have your book put together and with all your pictures, you get sent to castings. So ASOS was my first ever casting and my first job.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. How long did it take you to make the catalogue book for all your photo shoots?
Not that long, because the agency's in Newcastle and I'm from Newcastle, so I lived really near to it at the time, and I had shoots 5 days in a row, I think. Went and got them all printed. I had a casting 2 weeks after I got signed, and then I started shooting with ASOS straight after, basically.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
were you nervous? Was it one of those things that you just flowed into it naturally, you didn't really...
No. When I look now at videos, I'm oh my god, what was I doing? I didn't know what I was doing. I've developed so much since then.
So now, if you were 17 and you took you a year to... So have you been doing it for 2 years now?
Yeah, I've just turned 20 last month, so...
Happy birthday.
Thanks. It'll be 2 years in September. It's only a year and...
Oh, so you're still literally still fresh in the door.
Yeah.
So how did you grow your following? Because you've still got a pretty decent following considering you've only been doing it for a year.
Yeah, I think it's because with modelling for quite big brands like ASOS, and then I started modelling for Pretty Little Thing not long after that as well. There's a lot of already established models and makeup artists and hairstylists, and then they tag you in their pictures when they've done your glam for the shoot. So you get all these connections. So I think people just start following you from there when they see one of the people's
So it was
pages.
a natural just grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So a lot of guys, they've got a preconceived idea that a lot of models they get stuff sent to them and they just post the photo on Instagram and that's how they make a living. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot more to it. Obviously you're at uni as well. Do you is modelling for you right now something that you can just earn money from and earn a nice wage from that, or is it something that you still need to have separate work aside from?
No, that's my full-time job. Yeah. So yeah, I'm good for now.
Yeah. How much time does it take up?
To be honest, not that much, because I don't work a lot at the moment. I used to work maybe 3 days a week, and now I only work 1 day a week. That's because of Corona.
Yeah. So has that changed a lot? Coronavirus has affected the business?
When it first started, last lockdown, I hadn't moved into my apartment that I'm in now yet, because I'd finished first year, moved out of student accom, and then I hadn't got my new flat yet. So I was at home, bearing in mind I live with my mum, my stepdad and 4 brothers, and I started shooting from home. So I would get sent a box of 50 outfits. I got sent a camera, lights, tripod.
Oh, wow.
And I had to shoot for Pretty Little Thing from home with a 9-year-old, 7-year-old and 2-year-old running around. So,
I can imagine it's a busy environment.
It was stress. It was pure stress, but yeah, we're back in the studio shooting now, so it's not as bad.
So coronavirus, has that affected are you saying you're back into doing the shoots now? Do you think it's affected the industry in terms of like going forward? Do you think things are going to be changed because of what's happened with coronavirus and everything that's gone on?
Yeah, I think so, because since they started shooting at home, even though we're allowed in the studio now, a lot of brands still are shooting at home with models, and I don't know if it's because it was more like cost effective, or I don't know, it was quicker or whatever. And there's also the fact that we weren't allowed hair and makeup, so a lot of girls did their own makeup, which they've also kept at some places. So I think they found like some things that are more efficient, maybe.
Yeah. So do you think that the future of it could be more like sort of home shooting, do it like more DIY sort of thing, where they don't have to pay as many people to like get involved with the hair and makeup and sort of thing? Because if they know that you can do a good job of it yourself and you get everything sent to you, then it's a lot easier on their behalf as well.
Yeah, I think so. And like one thing that was really weird, I don't think anyone expected, is at Pretty Little Thing, some stuff like started selling way more with like a home backdrop. So they now have one of their studios made up like a living room with like
really?
A sofa and fake curtains on the wall. They also have one like a bedroom with a bed in, because it sells more when it looks like a house. Isn't that weird?
It is a bit bizarre, to be honest. What do you prefer? Do you prefer doing shoots at home, or do you prefer like doing them in an actual studio? What do you feel more comfortable with?
I don't know, like I think it's much quicker and easier when you're in a studio, because when I was taking my own pictures, I was my own like stylist, makeup artist, hair person, whatever. Like when you're in a studio, it's much quicker because you have someone to like tie your shoelaces.
Yeah, you've got a bit of guidance as well.
Yeah, like they do all the little things for you that speed it up way more. And I was like putting on a 10-second timer, then running back and standing, then putting it on a timer again, then running back. So like, yeah, that was a bit harder.
How many photos do you reckon you take to get the perfect shot?
For each outfit, maybe like 40 pictures, and then about 4 or 5 of them will go online.
Really? Wow.
That was when I was doing a timer. In the studio, it's like click, 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 like you move, like it's so fast. They'll honestly probably have like 100 for each outfit. It's so many.
I wouldn't have thought you'd need that many photos.
And people are like, oh, models, like you take one picture, it's perfect. Like, no, there's so many outtakes.
There's a lot more into it for sure. Yeah. I know you said that you don't really deal with that many trolls or anything on your actual Instagram, but you said you do it on your TikTok. How do you feel that you deal with all like the stigmas that come with like being a model on Instagram and having a bit of a following and having people like random people coming up to you and messaging you? No matter like, there's no like filter as to what message you're going to receive. Like, do you get any like weird messages? Because I know a lot of my girlfriends, like with a following that have got less than you, they'll get like the weirdest messages off guys. They'll get like unsolicited dick pics. Like it's just like, it's not nice. I can imagine like, because you've got a bit of a following, do you ever deal with any of that? And if so, like how do you deal with it?
I think that's not so much to do with being a model, because even before, like I would get weird messages from men, but since I've had a bigger following, like this is so random, but on TikTok, like people keep commenting that I look like James Charles.
James Charles.
I was gonna bring that. That's like the biggest hate comment, isn't it? Like people comment it. That's all the one that hurts you the most. I'll literally cry over it. Like I'll get so many messages of that, and I'll just have a breakdown. I'm like, I don't look like James Charles.
I don't think you look like James Charles. For the record.
Yeah, not massively hate, but like one person commented on my video lol, and like it wasn't meant to be funny, and I literally was like crying over it, because I was like, why did they put lol? Like it wasn't funny, because I'm like so sensitive, like I literally cry over anything. But I feel like if I started like growing my platform more, I would have to sort myself out, because you can't take it to heart.
It's so mad as well, because like we're like, our generation is like in such a new era of social media and everyone being able to connect to each other. Like it's so different to like say 20 years ago, when any models, like you'd only really see them on a fashion shoot or through magazines. Like there wasn't really a way to actually contact them. So it's like you're sort of like in a new age of, like you said, if you've got a bigger following, like the Kendall Jenners, they've got millions of people that can constantly just comment on a photo, and there's just so much that can get thrown at you. But I was going to ask, what are your inspirations for modelling? Like who do you look up to?
Sophia Jamora's always been like one of my favourite models, because she's like, I don't know, I feel like she kind of broke the modelling industry, because it used to be like stick thin, like tall models, and she's only like 5'7" and like a size 10, so she was the first like econ model to get really big and be like curvy. So yeah, I love Sophia Jamora. She's my favourite model.
She's gorgeous, to be honest.
She's unreal.
So that's a good way to tie into like I said last night, I found a study and they interviewed 11,000 14-year-olds. 20% of those boys said that they were unhappy about their appearance, and then there was 60% of those being girls saying that they'd be unhappy about their appearance. So it's like a pretty big gap between the boys and girls. Do you think that the social media and like because of like girls and not even like just normal people, like even if you look at Kendall Jenner a couple of months ago, there was the fashion shoot with her and all the Kardashians where they were in red, and everyone was kicking off because there was the photo that someone took of them doing the shoot, and then the official photo where you could see them slimmed down. Do you think that's dangerous for young girls? Because like I can never understand it personally. Like I always prefer natural beauty, but like there's also a lot of pressure that comes in being in that industry to look the perfect look. Like you said, like Sophia Zamora was the first person to like break through and be one of the first like curvy models, if you like. Like what stigmas do you reckon there still are in the industry to? Because like I said, like so many young girls are looking up to these people, and they've got filters, they've got Photoshop. It's like it's an unattainable level of beauty.
Well, I don't know why celebrities do stuff like that, because from my experience, the e-com brands that I work for, they don't retouch the pictures.
Yeah.
The only thing they'll take out is if you're shooting like a bikini or something. We obviously wear our underwear underneath.
Yeah.
The stuff we're shooting, and
they'll
edit out like the side of your pants. That's it. They don't retouch. They don't smooth your skin. They don't slim you down. So I don't know why like people still do it on Instagram and stuff, because even the fashion places don't do it anymore, because it would be a scandal, wouldn't it? Imagine like it would be all over Twitter or something. So yeah, I don't know. Like I personally don't massively edit my pictures, and I would never edit like the actual shape of my body or anything like that. So I don't know why people who are such big like public figures like the Kardashians do it.
Yeah, it's a mad one for me, because even I know a group of girls that like, obviously I'm not gonna name who they are, but I know a group of girls that literally like will collectively like help each other edit their photos to make them look slimmer, and it's just like I don't know who it helps, because like even for yourself, the way I see it is if you're constantly like doctoring a photo of yourself or making yourself look different, and when you're waking up in the morning you're looking at yourself but you're posting photos of yourself looking different, and that's when you're getting all the likes and you're getting all the love, then you're going to start like disliking yourself at the end of the day, really, because you're feeling in your own head that you're not good enough for what you're trying to perceive everyone else to look like.
But I think the thing is as well, like the things girls change in the pictures is something that only they would see. Like if you posted that picture unedited, I don't think anyone else would see it and be like, oh, like her legs are big or something. It's something that you like pick apart yourself and no one else would notice. So it's like, but it's just like getting your head around that, I think, because I probably used to be the same. I'd be like, oh my god, I can't post that and stuff, but it would be something that like no one else would ever pick out. It's just me. Yeah,
do you reckon it just comes down to the social pressure?
Yeah, because everyone kind of looks all put together and stuff, don't they? But then there are people now that are like trying to do stuff about it, like I don't know, body positivity, body confidence stuff, and like people posting more natural stuff. But there's definitely like you're like in between and wanting to break beauty standards and wanting to be one, and it's really hard to like. I was
gonna say, like, how do you feel? Because like I said, if the higher companies, like I said, like I'll go back to the Kylie Jenner comparison, because that's like probably the highest level of modelling that you can get to, like with her level of fame and the shoots that she does. If the top echelon people are doing that, does that make you like not worry, but like does it make you question about where things will go for you? Like do you reckon that you'll ever get to a point where a company will be like, oh listen, like if you want to get to this place, we're gonna have to start doing stuff like that? Like, because I as a guy, I can't understand it, but that's why I'm trying to have this conversation, because trying to find some questions.
I don't know if it's so much like editing pictures though, because if you think like they've also had so much surgery.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's they've had like the editing in real life, so why are they still even editing them? Like you've had it done properly. Like I don't know, like it's so like unattainable. Like I don't think I would get anything like that done, and if I needed to get that done to be in a certain job, I don't know, I wouldn't do it for the job. It would depend if it would make me happy or not, and if I got to a point where stuff I was having to do for my work wasn't going to make me happy, then I wouldn't do it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like why the fuck would anyone do
that?
Like
you want to be happy.
I'll pick a different job. No, I wouldn't do that.
So what did you like when you decided, when did you make that decision to go full-time model?
When I started uni, because I started modelling for ASOS when I started uni. It was September 2019, and I realised that, like, just to put it into perspective, before this I worked in a restaurant. Well, I was at sixth form. I worked in a burger restaurant like 5-6 days a week. I would work like 5 hours on a night until close. Then I worked for an events bar on weekends, so I would go to like weddings and stuff, do the bar, and I would work like hours and hours and hours, and I would get paid the same at the end of the month as I did from one day of modelling. So when I started uni, I was like, I can have all these hours to do my uni work and still make the same amount of money from one day's work. So like, I'm not going to be like working my ass off in a restaurant and then have no time to do my studies. Like, modelling literally like allowed me to focus on uni. So that's when I decided, I was like, I'm just going to do this. Because I was trying to get a job in Leeds when I first started. I'd applied to like Iceland and stuff. And then I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do one.
So yeah, so like I said, so like you're taking uni pretty seriously then. If you're only like really doing one day of work a week, then you can focus on uni full time. What did your like? Does it ever get not clouded, but like, do you ever get caught up in thinking, oh, if I put more time in modelling, I could be even more successful? But then obviously you'd lose out on the uni life a little bit. Like, do you ever get caught up in trying to be successful in modelling as opposed to then still trying to put the same amount of effort into uni?
Like, not massively, because when I first started uni, like for example Freshers Week, like I don't really go out that much and stuff anyway, so like for me, I was like getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to get the train to London, and people were still having an afters in my kitchen when I got up for work. Like, it was literally like I was on a different like time zone to the people who were just starting uni.
The uni life in Leeds is pretty much.
I didn't really mind, to be fair, but like now that uni is getting a bit more serious because it's not first year anymore. I like put more time into like the actual work, and I guess if we weren't in like a pandemic, I would be doing that instead of going out still, if you know what I mean. But yeah, no, I don't know, because with modelling it's like you can't like make yourself better at it, if you know what I mean, because I could be like, oh, I'm gonna work out loads and stuff, but like that wouldn't necessarily make me better, because then
it would be like a different market, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because imagine if I got absolutely ripped and then they didn't want me anymore, because then I'd be like a fitness model.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get better at it. You just suit a certain style of modelling. So I don't think I could put more time into modelling because I wouldn't know what to do.
Have you always been like one sort of style all the way through? Have you changed it up a little bit?
Yeah, I've always just been like an econ model, because I don't know, runway and stuff I'm not tall or slim enough for.
What's
and then
econ, by the way? I'm proper lad, sorry, but I don't know what econ means.
It's sort of e-commerce, so it's like online shopping brands.
Yeah.
Basically clothing places. And then editorials, like a magazine cover where you kind of like weird makeup and stuff. And then obviously runways, like catwalk modelling. So there's like 3 types.
Yeah, so ecom's definitely your favourite.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I'm like suited for, because I'm like the right kind of in between, yeah.
So you work for ASOS and you've been working for Pretty Little Thing.
Yeah.
Are those like the 2 people that you've sort of, even though you've not been doing it for too long, at least the people that you kind of looked up to in the sense of who you've wanted to work for? Or have you still got like more goals for other companies that you want to work for?
There's definitely more goals, but Pretty Little Thing was probably like milestone for me, because I've shopped from them since I was literally like 13, and I think everyone my age, and like most girls, to be honest, like I don't know, that's like where everyone gets their clothes from, and I've always like looked up to that, and that was like a milestone for me. But yeah, I've definitely got more goals now. It's very hard to have goals at the minute when not much is going on.
It's sort of like everyone's in the same boat. I feel like everyone's like been so lost with like the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen. We're in lockdown. Oh, we're going to be out of lockdown in a few weeks. Oh, we're back in lockdown. It's just like everything's always constantly changing, and even it's so mad, because even though we're in the situation here, like in England, like if you look at different parts of the world, everyone's in different situations. Like different parts of the world are opened up, different parts of the world are closed, different parts of the world have got different rules. It's so mad. But yeah, when it comes to modelling, like you said that you've not got any goals. Like, is that because of coronavirus? Like, do you think that this year has been a strain on your mental health? If you don't mind me asking, that is.
That's alright. So last year, one of my goals, for example, was to shoot like a campaign abroad, and obviously that did not happen. And then I thought this year, I was like, well, I'm not going to set myself another goal of that, because it's so like uncertain. Mental health wise, like I don't know, like I'm alright at the minute, but it's definitely like hard, because like, I live on my own. Like, I did move into my apartment. Like, I never intended on living on my own. I moved into my apartment with my ex, and then we split up. So after like 3 months living together, that went to shit. It went downhill very quickly. So I didn't intend on living on my own, and then now obviously I've ended up in an apartment on my own 24/7 because I can't see anyone.
You need a pet.
So, well, we got guinea pigs at home, but but like, I don't know, you just don't speak to them and stuff like a dog. My mum had a dog. I mean, I still speak to them, but it's just not the same. So yeah, like, obviously I've still like had a bubble. Like, I have seen people, but I get like 1 day of human contact a week.
Really?
And then I'm just sat in my apartment on my own. But it's not been too hard on me because I'm like, I like my own company. Like, I can't be, we were literally saying earlier, I can't be with someone like every day. I have to have a date of myself. I'm so
your own
like,
time is so important.
and I just like will sit in silence and then put Vampire Diaries on, and that's it, because like,
sounds like a hard life.
So yeah, it's not been too bad because I'm quite like, I like being on my own anyway, but yeah.
Alright. So what are you doing at uni again? You said you were doing media, yeah. So when you come out of uni, are you looking at still pursuing media as a career, or are you still like in your idea? Because you can pursue both. Like, are you trying to like develop both of them to be in the same sort of thing that you can use both skills at once, or? Like?
I think I'm planning on doing modelling for like as long as I can, but I think when it gets to a point where you settle down, you want to have a family and stuff, it's like not really practical because it's working away a lot, and I mean, obviously being pregnant at some point, like, probably wouldn't sit well.
Yeah.
Your body changes a lot and stuff, and a lot of people go back to it. I just don't personally think I would. So I think when it gets to that point, then I'll hopefully use my degree. I know a lot of people don't, but I want to go into like radio or something.
What specifically, do you know? Or is it just like you want to get into it at some point, but
yeah, I don't really know. It's just like this year at uni, like, we got to choose our modules, and went and did the radio one, and like, I just really enjoyed it, and I was like, this would be so much fun to do. So I think that's what I want to do, but like, I'm gonna model as long as I can first.
But that's the best thing. Like, if you've got a passion, like I always say this to any of my mates, like, find something that you love to do, because you don't ever want to get into a place where you're just doing a job for the sake of doing it. Like, because then again, that just everything then just starts falling apart because you're waking up for something you don't want to get into. Then it's just a nasty cycle, because you got to have a passion, because you got to. Like, for me, anyone that knows me, I'm so vocal about, I want to work for the UFC, I want to do this and that, and you have to have those goals, because even like times when you feel down and low, like especially in the last year, because everyone's like had so much uncertainty, having those goals is kind of what pushes you through those bad days, because you're like, oh well, I've got something to work towards, sort of thing. What did your parents think when you said that you were going to do modelling? Because I know some parents are against. Some parents are like fully like, oh yeah, go for it. Yeah. But I wanted to know what your parents were like.
My mum like is so like, she loves stuff like that. My mum was like, oh my god, like, she's so excited for me and stuff, because like, I don't know if you think like when my mum was younger, like ASOS has been around for such a long time. Like, she used to shop on there when she was like in her late 20s when she had me. And like, so she was like quite excited, and she used to do stuff like that as well. So she was like super excited about it. And my dad was like, that's cool. Yeah. He was like, I don't really know what any of this is, but he was like, okay, like, you get the bag, sis. Like, my dad's just kind of like, whatever. He doesn't really ask me much about it.
Does he not? But surely he's seen like your progression now. Surely he's seen it as like, oh, you're doing, like, you can actually get a career out of it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like, they're proud of me and stuff, but I think they don't see it as like a real job. It's like a temporary thing, which is fun while it lasts and whatever, but it's actually hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine it is.
Like, you have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, probably travel a good few hours on a train, couple of Ubers, stand in heels for about 8 hours. Like, it's actually really, really tiring.
I couldn't actually imagine like having to stand in heels for that long. It just does not sound fun at all. Blisters all on your feet as well.
Yeah. Oh. It's not as glamorous as it looks. And a lot of shoots as well, when you're on location, you'll be like outside getting changed in like the trees or something. Like, it's really not like as glamorous as you think. But yeah, I don't know, like, my dad's just like, yeah, it's a good for now kind of thing, but I think he'll be more excited like if I got a job like from what I'm doing at uni kind of thing.
So for sure. What's your favourite shoot you've ever done?
Ooh. What, shoot at all, or like a
Yeah,
job?
anything. Yeah,
My
shoot at all.
favourite shoot, I did one with this man, he's called That Smalls Guy on Instagram, his name's Stefan. He's an amazing photographer, and he literally messaged me and was like, do you want a test? Which I was like, oh my god, yes. I was like, what? Yes. And yeah, we did it in like this studio in Manchester, and it was kind of like an underwear shoot, but I don't know, like I just remember, it came up on my Snapchat memories actually the other day, it was like a year ago today, and I'd got the photos sent back to me, and I was like, who is she? I was like, that is not me. I was like, wow. And I just like, I don't know, that shoot, I just remember like feeling really good, because like, I have days where I'm like,
I can imagine like everyone has their on off days, and when you've got a shoot scheduled, sometimes like, you never know how you're gonna feel, but you still gotta like sort of act up to the camera and pretend that everything's still normal.
yeah.
Is it difficult sometimes?
Yeah, because I'm like such a big critic of myself. Like when I have a day where I feel confident, it's like, it's exciting for me. It's like once every 2 weeks. I'm like, yes. Like everyone on my private Snapchat story knows this. I have a day where I'm like, woo, and then the next day I'm crying on the sofa again. So I don't know, like stuff like that. It is hard, and as well, like sometimes there'll be a day like the makeup artist, like I'm not saying they're bad or anything, but they'll just do your makeup how like maybe you don't feel the most confident with it, like
sort
that.
of like what they want you to look like. Yeah.
When you're in front of the camera, if you're not feeling the way that you look, like I just think you can tell in the pictures that like you're not as confident, so it is hard to try and do it.
Is it not one of those like environments where you could say, like, say if a makeup artist spent all the time doing it, is it not one of those environments where you could be like, not really feeling it?
With people that I'm like, that I know well, yeah, because there's a lot of ones that I've worked with like repeatedly that I'm actually really close friends with now, and I'd be like, oh, do you mind if I just pop a bit of this on or something? But sometimes just me as a person, I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to upset them, because it's not that their work's bad, it's just that it's like not how I would do it, if you know what I mean. But I'm so like, I'll just be like, oh yeah, thank you so much. Like I wouldn't want to say anything, I'd be like, oh okay. So no, I probably wouldn't say anything, but I'm sure you could. Like I don't think they'd be offended.
I'll go to this question. What's the worst shoot that you can never remember?
Oh my god, there was this one. This was a test shoot as well for my portfolio. With this man in Newcastle, and the girl did my makeup. I looked like an avatar. She put like blue eyeshadow and stuff on. And then he was like, can you take your top down and stuff? So I was literally sat there with like my boobs out, sat on a stool. And this was like 40-year-old man like taking pictures of me. My hair was like wet. Nice. I had like barely any makeup on, like no coverage or anything, and then just blue eyeshadow. And I was like, what the actual fuck am I doing?
That sounds weird.
I never even got any of the pictures back. I didn't want them. I was like, don't send me them. I didn't say that. He sent them to my agent. I was like, I don't want them. I'm not.
That sounds like a creepy old guy wanted to do a little photo shoot, to be honest.
Yeah, there was another shoot I had at his studio, and like I was literally sat there with like no top, because some of them like you'll have no top on, and obviously it'll be cropped, but then it looks nicer with like your shoulders out, whatever. So it's just better if you don't have anything in it that you need to edit out. And he was like waiting for the lift, and he was like looking at me, and I was like, you're literally like a 40-year-old man, like please stop looking at me, please go away.
What's the industry actually like with people that actually work in besides, like I said, there are loads of like older men photographers, like is there quite a few like creepy characters? Because like from an outsider's perspective, like I can imagine that there are a lot of people that probably want to get into it for not maybe the right reasons.
Yeah,
because it is a huge industry.
I'm not, like in my experience, that's the only time that's happened. And also in my experience, a lot of men who work in the brands that I've shot for doing hair, makeup, photography are normally gay. Not always, but like a large portion of them are that I've worked with. So I'm normally like quite comfortable with that. But there was one I heard about. Apparently there's one in Manchester that had been getting girls to like go to hotel rooms with him to shoot and then try and stuff. And I've heard like stories about it. So obviously I've never reached out to him for obvious reasons. So I'm sure there are a few out there, yeah, but most of the time there'll be someone else with me on the shoot, so
you're not like, so there's always someone that you can make it like, you're always not uncomfortable, like as long as you've got someone there then it's alright.
Yeah, there's normally like someone who's done my makeup or like a stylist or whatever, there's normally like someone else there, so it's not like too intimidating where if it was just like me and then like a middle-aged man taking pictures, like
I can imagine.
Yeah, there's normally someone else
How many people are actually like on set at one time? On average, obviously you're not going to know exactly how many, but...
On a job, like at ASOS, they have 14 studios. So then you'll be in a studio and there'll be 2 models, because while one gets changed, one shoots, then you swap. then there'll be a stylist, an assistant stylist, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a photographer, retoucher, and then an assistant as well. So normally, I don't know, what, between 8 and 10 people in the studio?
That's a fair amount of people. So you never get nervous in front of the camera then, I wouldn't say.
You have to get used to it.
Yeah, you have to get used to it.
Oh, you have to get used to it.
I was going to say the last thing I want to touch on, obviously, Sarah Everard, like recently, that's so sad what happened to her. I think a lot of guys even let me down by not really openly speaking about it on social media. Like, you see everyone, like, whenever there's a Black Lives Matter, you see people always jump on it, sort of thing. But there weren't that many guys that really posted about what happened with Sarah and how to, like, tackle issues. And I was always, like, very fortunate that my mum raised me. I was raised by a single mum. So I've always had a lot of respect for women, just in that manner, sort of thing. And she's always made it clear to me from a young age that she used to do stuff like whenever she got in a taxi, she'd take a photo of the license plate, or whenever there was a guy walking behind her, she'd always cross the road. And I think, like, if I was never told that from a young age, I probably wouldn't realise how many precautions women actually have to take just to feel safe. And I don't know if you know as well, in Henley, where the cricket stadium is, there's that long alleyway as well, which is unfortunately been notoriously known for a bit of an assault hotspot as well. And I wanted to know, like, if you've had any bad experiences, like, where you felt unsafe, like, just from walking about, because I think a lot of guys need to be. I think it comes down to the education. A lot of guys were so dismissive. I seen, like, a lot of people. There was I think it was on, maybe not GRM, but I seen something that said 97% of teens said that they'd felt some sort of sexual assault or some sort of, like, assault where they felt uncomfortable. And there were loads of guys that were, like, just shrugging it off as if it wasn't true. But it's like, I know from experience, even from some of my friends, that it is a very scarily common thing, and it shouldn't be a common thing. So I was wondering if you've gone through anything. I
mean, we were literally talking on the way here. I was like, my friend literally got mugged in that alleyway last year. Like, there's so many things that have happened. And I mean, I don't think I need to explain this, because it's been all over everywhere. But yeah, girls do so many things. Like, I always hold my keys when I'm in an Uber if I'm on my own, or, like, I have a sharing location thing on with, like, my parents and stuff, where you get in an Uber, you can share your journey with someone. And, like, I even know a girl who I used to work with, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, because she told a few people at work, like, when she gets in an Uber to go to work on her own, she said she puts on, like, a like, manly voice to make herself sound unattractive to her Uber driver. Like, why would you even think, like, why do we even think of that? But we do, like, you think of it without even thinking.
Like, I mean, that there are so many subliminal things that we like, you need to do, like, and it's a bit sad. Like, I would never want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, but just the simple fact, because of how many people actually do it, like, men in general probably just get thrown into it. And it's like, it's not all men, but there are enough men to make the problem, like, big enough that you need to be careful of it. Like, we were in a taxi not long ago, was it, when we were coming back from Amelia's, and we were in this taxi with this 50-year-old guy, and he was like, oh yeah, it was actually maybe like 2 questions in, he was like, oh yeah, you at uni, and he was like, oh yeah, the girls are nice, aren't they? And I was like, you're a 50-year-old guy, you told us you're married, and the second question you're asking me is about girls, and you're an Uber driver around Hyde Park and Henley. Like, it's dodgy.
Worrying, yeah.
It is dodgy. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I just think, again, it comes back to the education. Like, what do you think guys can be doing to make women feel more safe?
I was just going to say, in terms of education, we never get told about any of this at school. At all. None of it. Like, obviously, it should be, like, common sense for boys to, like, make girls feel comfortable if they've made it aware that, like, there's things they do that, you know, are, like, I don't know, like, scary or whatever, but you never get told about stuff like this at
It's sort of just like it's just learnt from experiences, really. Yeah. It's fucked.
But there should be more actual education about it in general, like, to start with. Because I think, like, I don't know, especially recently when people are saying to boys, like, if your friend does something, like, you might not have even realised was, like, bad, like, you need to, like,
it comes from the friends, yeah, like, for sure, like if there are any, like, any mates where you can see something that's not really right, you got to speak out about it, because otherwise you're being silent, which is, like, allowing it to happen, for starters, and it's also, like, you're not telling someone straight that they're doing something wrong, which is another problem, which there needs, if they never get told, they can constantly get away with it, you never know what might happen. And it is so sad. And I think the more fucked up thing about Sarah Everard as well, it was a police officer.
Yeah, that just makes you think like you're not safe. Like you're never safe. It can literally be anyone. That's so scary.
And they came out and they said, "Oh, when lockdown opens up, they're going to have plainclothes officers walking around." Yeah, did you not see it? Yeah, they said they're going to be putting plainclothes officers in like bars and stuff to make women feel safe.
Just the complete
but it's
opposite.
not.
It's the complete opposite.
Oh, like what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's nothing actually being done by the system as well to help it. Like everyone knows that alleyway. I seen 3 different people like spray paint assault hotspot on there, and each time it was covered up. Why are you covering up? Like who's covering up? And also, it's also one of those things where I feel like when things are shown in the light, they've got to show that they're doing stuff, and then when it all fades away, then it gets kind of forgotten about. That alleyway's been there for so long. There's probably £1 million complex there with the rugby stadium and the cricket stadium, and the unis are all involved.
Put some cameras there. The stadium should
exactly.
be paying for it.
There's no way that the cameras shouldn't be there. Like there's no way that the companies that are all involved with all of those, all the sponsors, that they can't find the money to have CCTV.
Well, I used to work for a events company in Leeds, like a club events based misconduct, and they paid for security put on there at one point when this first started happening. But it's not their job. Like the stadium should be doing it, or the council should be doing it. Like they paid for it, but it was only for like a month or so, because obviously it's this little small business that like a young early 20s like lad owns, and he'd paid for that from his company. And like,
it's not his responsibility.
It's nice to do, he can't do that forever. And
yeah,
it's not his
exactly. And now there's no one there now because he can't afford to put any more. So it's just gone back to the same situation that everyone was in.
And it's also the point that like criminal activity, like as soon as you put cameras or something there, it'll move to another alley. Like it just moves. Like it's so like crazy. Like you'll put all this like stuff there to stop it. You could have street lights, you could have cameras, you could have security, and it'll just go somewhere else. It'll be in another alleyway in Hyde Park. Like
there's so many alleyways as well. Like I said, like it's just where's the next place going to be? I'm not sure if any of you've seen it, but I've seen on my friend Jess Geary, she posted it on a story. There's an app that basically you can I think it puts Google Maps on this app, and it lets you know on any street if there's been any signs of assault.
I downloaded it like 2 days ago.
That's so scary. Like we shouldn't have to have.
Exactly.
Like, why does that app even exist?
It shouldn't have to be that way. But again, it just can't. Like I think more stuff needs to be done. There needs to be more from the educational side of things in schools. There needs to be more from the system of the police. It's just like at one point does it get to the point where it's like, oh, like enough is enough.
But I think with stuff like that, like if there's it's never going to be a zero, is it?
Yeah, it's never going to be.
It's like literally everything. Like it's never ever going to be a zero. You can't like. I don't think we'll ever fully have like world peace or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always.
Do you think it's gotten better or worse though?
I don't necessarily think it's gotten better, but for things like the Me Too movement, it's definitely made more people speak out about it, which helps because the statistics. Because you know how before like the statistics of like reported sexual harassment and stuff is low because people don't want to talk about it, whereas like with movements and stuff like that now, it helps to see more real statistics because more people are comfortable to speak about it. And then when people see the actual like facts about it, then it's more, I don't want to say believable because you shouldn't like say, do you know what I mean, it shouldn't even have to be a thing, but a lot of people are like, oh, girls just make it up and stuff, but when it's a fact, it's like, oh, this is actually happening. So yeah, I think it's helped that more people speak about it.
As a guy, I'm never going to really understand it, but I definitely think that the last few years, especially with social media, has helped a lot of people come out and like talk about their experiences, which in turn will also help a lot of other people that have been through it in terms of like just getting through it themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if it's not stopping people from doing it or getting any more people sentenced or whatever, like being able to talk to people about it is still going to help like the victims or whatever. So yeah, obviously there should be more like action going on to actually stop it, but it's still good that people are talking about it now. For sure.
So I want to ask you this last question: Where do you see yourself in 3 years' time? Whether that be modelling or uni with what you're doing. Like, obviously 3 years is a long way away, but have you got anything in your mind that you like? If you look back on this podcast in 3 years' time, where do you hope to be?
Okay, 3 years. I'll be 23. So, hopefully still modelling. So I would like to be modelling until I'm at least like 25. So yeah, hopefully still doing that, working for hopefully bigger brands, shooting campaigns and stuff, and promoting all this good stuff on my Instagram, you know, all these movements and stuff. But hopefully also growing connections for like media type work as well.
For sure, getting the networks.
Yeah.
I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but I didn't ask you what made you choose to move to Leeds if you were from Newcastle?
I got an unconditional. Literally, I didn't want to move away because my mum had just had a baby, my little brother. He was literally like, he wasn't even 1 when I started uni. And I was like, I don't want to move away because I don't want him to have this sister that like comes back once a month who's like barely there. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh.
I know what you mean. I've got a big family. I'm one of 6.
Really?
Oh,
my dad has 6 kids with 3 women.
Okay.
So like the age is all over the place. But I know what you mean because my little sister's like 8, and when I left, well, I think she's maybe 8 or 9. I got that wrong. But when I left, like she was so little, like she's still growing up, and it's the same sort of thing. Like you want to see him growing up, you want to be there for him
and be close to them, and have a good relationship. Yeah, I'm the same because my oldest brother, he's 22, and then the youngest one's 2. So
it's a big the youngest, my little sister Amelia, she's 8 or 9, 8 or 9, and then my eldest sister is Ellen. She's 34. We've got 3 boys and 3 girls. It's like split evenly out, but
yeah, so that was like the main reason I didn't want to move. I wanted to go to Newcastle Uni, but they wanted like 3 A's for media, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like, I was doing like sciences for A levels, and I was just like failing them, so I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. And then Beckett gave me an unconditional, and I was like, that just took all the pressure off.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I thought about it, and I was like, it's like an hour and a quarter on the train. It's about the same, like an hour and a quarter, hour and a half drive. So I was like, okay, and I do go home like every week.
Every week, yeah.
Every week.
How long do you go back for?
Not long, because I get stressed after like a day. So
I was gonna say, you don't really, or do you get homesick when you go back? And like,
I'm like, I miss my family, and then I go back and I'm like, oh my god, I need some quiet time. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, I miss my family again, and then I'm like, oh. So every like week or 2, I'll go back for like 2 nights or something.
That's alright. You still see the family. It's nice.
Yeah, and then I just FaceTime them a lot. So
you're lucky. It's not that far away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't live like in Newcastle. I live in Durham, so it's even closer. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Emily, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
First, I'm not getting any wine, but I'll still.
Oh.
I need a
Cheers.
top up. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. But yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Perfect.